I am hunter.
Each year, tens of thousands of hunters love to come to Wyoming to hunt big game. So a year ago when I ran into a couple of good old boys in Las Vegas who said they were from Wyoming and they were outfitters and invited me to come hunt with them, well, that's an opportunity I couldn't pass up. Justin Lovercheck and Todd Steinbach run not your typical outfitters in southeast Wyoming. It's what you'd call a mom and pop operation. It's on Justin's ranch land, the ranch where he grew up. And Todd and Justin, well, they've been buddies for a long time. They're actually old traveling rodeo buddies, bull riders. Now, I'm not crazy enough to get on a bull, but these guys were. Lucky enough they got off okay and are now mule deer hunting fanatics.
Oh, I grew up on the home place here. It's been in the family for, I guess, 109 years now. Born and raised here. The ranch it's got bluffs and rolling hills. A lot of places to hide. You know, it's just natural mule deer habitat. The alfalfa fields, it helps to pinpoint them down. They use the alfalfa fields every night, and you know their routine. They bed in the same places. The shade, they follow the shade. They get up every day, you know, 9:30, right in there. They move, you know, around the corner to get better shade. We've kind of controlled our ground for quite a few years, so we pick and choose what we hunt. So if you can keep one and get him, you know, 6, 7 years old, you're going to have a quality deer.
It's opening morning in Wyoming. Todd and Justin spotted a big buck coming our way. Are we gonna get lucky right away this first morning? Let's hope so. That deer did just what a mature buck generally does. He disappeared. What was really, really unique about his escape place, though, was the fact that it was just one hole in a gully. But that hole had all the cedar cover he needed to stay put all day. Time ticked by, and no buck showed up. That buck camped right there for the day. Knowing that and realizing there was very little chance for that buck leaving the rest of the day, we left. It was gonna be hot, so the odds of that buck leaving a good shady spot were pretty slim. Even if he's in there, it might be impossible to see him until he gets up and moves.
Yeah. See what we can find.
All right, let's go get another shot.
Our main tactic for hunting mule deer here is spot and stalk. We get up on top of these rims and whatnot and try to glass up deer that are all around and look and see in these cracks and crevices. And we hunt shade a lot. These deer will work around shade, and then we try to get them bedded, put them to sleep, and then go in for the shot.
We decided that buck was staying there. Let's go look for some other bucks. As the afternoon hours passed, we did not see that big buck that we'd saw slip in below us at sunrise, but we did see quite a few others. We saw 2 different strings of deer in parallel draws below us. One draw held 7, another one held 3 or 4, and there were good bucks in there, but no mature bucks that we wanted to pursue that afternoon. That didn't matter. We had our big boy, so at least we thought. So we headed back there as the sun started to dip. Our plan was just to ease down the draw and see if we could catch him below browsing, maybe heading out to water or even making that big move to the next door alfalfa field. Eventually, we came to a fence, and we had to cross that fence. As we slipped over, we all kind of set up, looking, trying to make sure we hadn't made any extra noise. Then all of a sudden, the world collapsed. He just kind of loped, trotted up over the hill, never once stopping to give us a shot. Now that's what those big bucks do. He just steadily leaves the country.
We think that was our buck?
I'm pretty sure that's probably our buck. Well, the one we've been sitting on all day, yeah.
I honestly didn't think he was a giant, but he was giant in the body size. I mean, he's a mature deer, and then the way he's acted all day, and then now the way he left, I mean, that says it all to me that he's an old, smart deer. So.
Yeah.
But that doesn't help us when he's running away 1,000 yards off in the distance.
No. This buck, we never saw him again. Not that night, not the next day, not the rest of the entire hunt. But these guys, they said, don't worry, Mark, we've got more big bucks. We just got to find them. And like any hunt, we continued on the next day.
North American Hunter is brought to you by Hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable. Ruger, rugged, reliable firearms. M&P, advanced by design. Can-Am off-road vehicles. Can-Am, the ride says it all. And by Matthews, catch us if you can.
Well, after our auto body day of hunting yesterday, and that's in reference to the high winds and sandblasting, I think it's gonna be a little more of the same today. But we're seeing some deer already. It's sunrise, second day of the season, second day of our hunt. We need to get this job done. Why? Well, Noah, that guy, that mythical guy on the radio, he's telling us that there's gonna be a big winter storm moving in. It could help us, but it could also hurt us because that winter storm could just be a rainstorm, making hunting really tough, especially access to the backcountry. We're gonna try and get her done today, hopefully if not tomorrow.
Good vantage point up here.
So you think a lot of those, there's deer behind this hill?
Yeah, we got another big bowl. Little breeze coming on. We're basically on top. They like it up here on these broken rocks up here, but if we can't pull up anything, we'll keep going with the wind as long as it lets us.
All right. This area, it looked like the setting of any alien film from Hollywood. It was unique country. With so many hiding spots for a big mule deer, there was no way to cover it even on a 5-day hunt, if not a 5-month hunt. We saw a few does here, some small bucks there, but we never did lay our eyes on a big buck. But as we paused up there in that meteor-like setting, I looked way out in the Badlands. And there, a string of deer going across a little grassy flat. Now we were looking at more than 2 miles away, maybe even further. It looked like a couple of them were good bucks. By midday, we just stumbled on a few more does. That evening found us right back up in those Badlands that we'd seen so far off in the distance. So you think this is the place for those bucks that we could see from what, a mile or two away over there? They went in right in these Badlands.
Yeah, they dang sure landed right in the middle of them. It's, getting them out of there, and hopefully they'll cooperate and come out on their own. And
they're going to want to go to the creek, right?
They want to go to the creek and over to the Alfie field and step out just in time.
Right, right at like 150 yards, broadside.
The perfect deal.
Let's go choreograph a kill.
Sounds great.
We snuck into position, using the canyons as much as we could to stay out of sight and to funnel our wind up and down. It was perfect stalking. Once we got in close to where we knew the deer would likely be bedded and showing up, we crawled up on the same bench where hopefully some of them would appear. As we sat there, a doe come up out and looked around, and then seconds later, there he was, a big buck. I dialed up my burst rifle scope, got the deer in the viewfinder, and Todd and I looked at each other. That buck was not an old buck like we wanted. We both knew instantly. It was the kind of buck that a lot of guys would shoot. And I might do it on a public land hunt where I know there's more pressure, but not here. This deer here, he needed to go back into the cupboard for a year or two and then come out. The good thing about this setup was that Todd and Justin had both seen this particular buck traveling with that Boone and Crockett contender that we were on the hunt for. And this buck kept looking down, and the doe really kept looking down into the gullies below. So what did that mean? Well, that big buck could show up right here with the other buck or with this whole clan beside us. But as the sun started setting, I could just sense that I think that big buck either was holding tight or not even in the neighborhood.
When I first saw that buck, I thought he was a lot better than what he was. But I only looked real quick, and then I got up there. Man, he surprised me.
Yeah, we got him in skyline. You know, it's right there with wide, and
he's a nice buck, but he's just a young deer. He's a year or two away from being a.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna explode.
Yeah, great genetics. Yeah, I mean, you can't ask for better backs on a young deer than that.
Well, it's getting pretty dark. Let's head back to the ranch and make a plan for tomorrow before the big storm blows in.
Sounds great.
All right.
The next morning when I got up, the snow had started to fall. And it wasn't just a little bit of snow. The skies were unleashing bucket loads of snow, driven by 40, 50 mile an hour winds. Our day was shot. You could not see. Visibility near zero. Travel restrictions in place. In fact, for the safety of all of us involved, we just decided it'd be better to go back to the ranch. We kept our fingers crossed and we watched the forecast, hoping we weren't going to be kept in this ranch house any longer than one day. Well, this massive storm system that's just smashed into Wyoming finally lifted. Now these deer are moving. They haven't eaten for probably close to 24 hours, at least eating a good meal, and you can tell because they're up browsing in the middle of the day. We got about 4, 5, 6 bucks all across this big face in front of us. We haven't seen the jumbo buck. It's getting close to the end of the hunt, but we have picked out one deer that's a cull deer, a mature deer. It's probably not gonna be a top end deer at any given time. Hey, that's a trophy deer. Well, we started making that move, staying low, trying to get some trees to use as cover to make that last push.
Get right here and glass up there and you can see his horns.
And just as we got into position, and what do I see? Well, I saw the fleeting rear end of a deer kind of running toward me and around this butte, but I also saw a coyote. Now I thought really one of us had screwed up. Justin went up ahead and was kind of motioning like he didn't see the deer, and I knew those deer had to be right there then. If he wasn't seeing them, they ran toward us. They likely just ran right back where they were. I hustled up ahead as fast as I could. Todd and I split up. He was gonna look low around the side hill. I was gonna look from above and in. And my first peek into the gully, I saw antler tips. We dropped down. Justin met up with us. I hit my knees. Todd was peeking through the brush, and I slid out ever so slowly to look up that gully. And then I saw him. Okay, I got him. Yeah, he went right down, didn't he?
You got it. You got it.
We did a little celebration on the spot and then hustled up to see the buck.
Heck yeah, he's a mature cull buck, good to get out.
Look at the hook on his brow.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool. He's just a nice old cull buck.
Yeah, good old head, good job.
Hey, I made some great friends. Todd and Justin, they run a Class A #1 operation. They've got the big bucks. They don't run a lot of hunters, and they live in some of the prettiest country you'll ever see in Wyoming.
North American Hunter is brought to you by Supercharged Scent Killer by Wildlife Research Center. 99% peak antifreeze. Radiator protection that's guaranteed. Peak. Run true. Burris Optics, home of the Eliminator 3 laser scope. Thompson Center, America's master gunmaker. And by Zippo Outdoor Hand Warmers. Stay warmer, stay out longer.